Welcome back to Crypto Meets AI. Jerry here's an update for you. Do me a favor, friends. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and comment down below. Now let's get into this. In life, you can have many opportunities, but I assure you, you will not have an opportunity like XRP again while you are alive. XRP will be the currency that replaces the role of the dollar, the reserve currency. XRP has been created to dominate the financial system. It's up to you, my friends. Franklin Templeton CEO sounds the alarm. The dollar dominance is being chipped away, and the world urgently needs a sovereign, neutral, free-floating currency interoperable with all others. That's exactly what XRP and Ripple infrastructure provides.
Look, dollar dominance, that I always come back and say, well, where else are you going to go? Right. So start with that. And, you know, you think about the reserve currency, you're looking for stability, you're looking for strong economies, you're looking for a trust. You have to have a free floating currency, capital, you can't have a lot of capital controls. So I don't think there's a question about the dollar dominance. I think there's a question about how much it gets chipped away, right? And you definitely see that. And you see that. And honestly, I actually think there's a lot of discussion about how tariffs and can you trust the U.S. has impacted it. But I actually go back to, in talking to some central banks, when Russia invaded the Ukraine and the U.S. froze assets of Russia in U.S. dollar, there was this, this could be us. And so I actually think it started a little bit there where people said, okay, we need to start to diversify this a bit. And then you've obviously had the comments on, how can we trust the U.S. in how they behave in certain ways. And you see it, right? You see, like when when Russia was taken away from SWIFT, you now see contracts being done. India's buying oil from Russia in rupee, denominated invoicing. China and Russia are operating in the yuan. So that's the chipping away component. You still have the dollar dominance.
Even though the dollar is being chipped away a little bit at a time, the dollar is still the dominant force in the world, plain and simple. And that's not going to change anytime soon. What's going to change is the reserve currency that settles these transactions. Instead of being done in dollar denominations, it's going to be done in XRP. Japan will be able to use their own yen. It'll go straight from yen to XRP to US dollars, or from US dollars to XRP to the yen. But the world will still be dominated by USD-dominated stablecoins. Now, I need you all to sit down because I don't want you to fall over. It happened. Senator Warren just sided with crypto against JPMorgan. In a recent report from Eleanor Tourette and Crypto America, Senator Warren, one of crypto's biggest critics, is now backing the same rule that crypto companies are fighting for, while JPMorgan is trying to kill it. The fight is over the open banking rule, the one that lets you control your own financial data and choose who you share it with, like apps, wallets, payment startups, that type of thing. In 2024, this became official law. Banks must let you access your own data for free and must let you share it with trusted third-party apps. Crypto companies love this rule because it allows startups and payment networks like CryptoRails to compete without having to pay crazy fees to banks. But of course, the big banks don't like this, especially JPMorgan. They hate this rule. Why? Because if consumers can move their data freely, banks lose a major advantage in billions in data access fees. So JP Morgan and other banks have been lobbying hard to kill the rule or rewrite it so they can charge people again. Here's the twist. Senator Warren, normally anti-crypto, just sent a letter urging CFPB to restore the rule fully and block banks from charging fees for consumer data access. She basically told the regulator, don't weaken the rule, don't let banks create a monopoly, and don't let JP Morgan shut down the competition. Crypto companies and Senator Warren on the same side? I sure as hell didn't have that on my 2025 bingo card. Meanwhile, JP Morgan and big banks are pushing the opposite way, arguing that letting consumers share data freely is too risky, and they should get paid for giving access. That's crazy. Why should we have to pay for access to our own information? What do you think? Comment down below and you tell me. I think the banks are afraid of crypto because they are too slow to compete. Ripple now owns a prime brokerage, Ripple Prime, clearing $3 trillion yearly. This doubles down on XRP as a bridge currency. While Hidden Road integrates RLUSD stablecoin for collateral, XRP remains key for settling transactions on the XRPL. It's all about utility, and this move will turbocharge XRP's institutional use.
We've always been believers in a multi-chain, multi-token future. And so we think that different tokens and different chains, for that matter, are useful at different times for different use cases. Let's take XRP first. XRP is the native asset to the public blockchain, the XRP ledger. So inherently it has a use case in terms of gas fees, as well as, for reserve accounts. So that will always be there. And the more that the ledger is used by more developers, more end users, you see demand for that token going up. In addition, a really novel thing about XRP was, as the ledger was created, it had a decentralized exchange built into it. And so trades within that decentralized exchange that don't have immediate liquidity between them auto-bridge through XRP. So this is where we've talked about it as a real bridge asset. And even beyond the Ripple payments use cases, so within our payments product, by the way, we still do use XRP as well as stablecoins. And it kind of depends on the customer's use case and what's most efficient. I will say, yes, we see a lot of growth within stablecoins for our payments product this year. But as more types of developers build products, either within the XRP Ledger ecosystem or other chains, this DEX feature and using XRP for liquidity will be a bigger and bigger use case.
Think about that. The XRPL had the very first DEX ever created. They never used it all this time because they were focused on payments and remittances. Now they're moving on to tokenization and real-world assets. That DEX will be used, but it just goes to show you how far they planned this out. Have you guys actually seen this? Banks didn't raise $500 million for the future of money, but Ripple just did. Moves like this tell you exactly why the long-term outlook on XRP keeps getting stronger. Utilities finally being funded at the top. And when Fortress, Citadel, Pantera, Brevin Howard, and Galaxy all pile in at once, it's not speculation. It's a signal. This raise is not about propaganda. It's about RLUSD, institutional rails, and treasuries moving on-chain. The kind of capital that doesn't chase narratives, it builds new ones. I've watched crypto from every angle, and moments like this are the real turning points. When the smartest money stops observing and starts funding the new financial plumbing of the world, you know what's happening. XRP could be soon included in state treasuries across the U.S., from tax payments to treasury reserves. XRP is moving from speculation to real utility.
You signed 2 bills this year. So then, of course, you got the New York operations up there trying to allow state agencies to accept cryptocurrencies. So that would be something. Is this a growing thing at the state level? Can you share anything?
It's a movement. I think every state is sitting there and seeing there are benefits to digital assets, whether we issue municipal bonds backed by Bitcoin like we saw in New Hampshire, or we issue licensing bills to provide clarity that the federal government is not providing right now to token issuers or to platforms. There is a growing interest at the state level to become hubs for digital asset companies. They are viewing this like it was the dot-com boom of the early 2000s, that every state in the country wanted to find a way to bring in talent that were helping develop and build the internet. We're seeing it now on the digital asset side. It is just the next wave, this Web3 wave. So I think this is just the beginning. I wouldn't be surprised if we're talking next year and all 50 states have signed digital asset bills, especially as the federal government slow walks a lot of the regulatory progress that we want and that we are pushing for. We're seeing a lot from the agencies and the administration, but Congress is slow, as we just alluded to at the top of the conversation. I think every state's going to get involved. We just actually at the Digital Chamber launched the Digital State Network to be more active in the states. Our member companies that we represent are demanding it. They want to go into the state houses. They feel comfortable with what's going in Washington. They want to have conversation with governors, with state elected officials. And so we will be very active in all 50 states next year.
Trump just dropped the real reset plan. Trump just laid out the blueprint for the next financial era right in plain English. He's not talking about imports. He's talking about replacing the IRS, detonating the debt-based system, and funding America with pure external revenue. Read what he actually said. Importers burned through the stock-up dodge. Now they're trapped. Everything they buy gets hit. Tariff revenue is about to explode vertically. America becomes a trade powerhouse superstate, and anyone opposing it is serving hostile foreign interests. If SCOTUS blocks this, they're siding with the global parasites, not the American people. This is the keystone to the entire monetary reset. RLUSD as digital dollar, XRP, XDC settling global flow, ISO 2002 rails snapping together, Ripple plus BNY Mellon wiring the system, BRICS commodity shift accelerating, Iraqis IQD prepping for international use, tariffs funding the transition away from income tax. It's all connected, and Trump knows exactly what he's doing. He's daring SCOTUS to kill the revenue engine powering America's comeback. Refunds? Please. That would nuke the entire global architecture being built right now. SCOTUS isn't suicidal. This is the moment the old system dies and the new one comes online. You're watching the reset happen in real time. That's what I have for you folks. Until next time, stay savvy, stay stacking, and I'll catch you in the next one. If you enjoyed this, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and comment down below. And if you want more crypto deep dives, check out our videos right here on Crypto Meets AI. Thank you for watching. Remember to always do your own research. This is not financial advice.